President Bola Tinubu has addressed Nigerians on his mandate to make the nation a prosperous and economically viable one. In his maiden New Year address to the nation, the president on Monday says he took difficult steps at reforming Nigeria's economy to avert a looming fiscal crisis. He also assured Nigerians that the harsh economic realities would not last long, as his reforms would yield the desired results in 2024.
We must lift up our hand to Almighty God in gratitude for His grace and benevolence to our country and our lives in the year 2023 that has just gone by. Though the past year was very challenging one, it was eventful in so many ways for our country. It was a transition year that saw a peaceful, orderly, and successful transfer of power from one administration to another, marking the yet another remarkable step in our 24 years of unbroken democracy. It was a year you, the gracious people of this blessed nation, entrusted your faith in me with a clear mandate to make our country better.
However, Tinubu highlighted the transience of the current difficulties, urging Nigerians to be patient. The president says his administration is ensuring constant food supply, security, and affordability by stepping up plans to cultivate 500,000 hectares of farmlands across the country to grow maize, rice, wheat, millet, and other staple crops. The Nigerian leader adds that the recommendations of the Tax Reforms Committee is set up last September will be codified and simplified to ensure the business environment does not destroy value.
From the boardroom at the broad streets in Lagos to the main streets of Kano and Nembe Creeks in Bayelsa, I hear the groans of Nigerians who work hard every day to provide for themselves and their families. I'm not oblivious of the expressed and sometimes unexpressed frustrations of my fellow citizens. I know for a fact that some of our compatriots are even asking if this is how our administration wants to renew their hope. Their compatriots. Take this from me. The time may be rough and tough. However, our spirit must remain unbowed because tough times never last. We are made for this period, never to flinch, never to falter. The socio-economic challenges of today should energize and rekindle our love and faith in the promise of Nigeria.
And joining us on the news is Akin Fatunke, Chartered Accountant and Communications Consultant. Akin Fatunke, let's say Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You, Lekan, New Central, and the rest of Nigeria. Let me remember friends of Nigeria who are looking at Nigeria very, very closely. Thanks for having me here.
Now, from an economic perspective, how do you evaluate the emphasis President Bola Tinubu placed on national defense and internal security as one of the top priorities in the 2024 budget? And what impact might that have on the overall economic landscape?
You have been surprised if emphasis is not placed on both internal and security, because the battle he took from the immediate past regime, which is also the APC government, clearly was such that we needed to declare a state of emergency in our security apparatus. Unfortunately, in my mind, I just say that in the morning shows what the day is. And when Mr. President in his speech today was talking about the fact that he was given a mandate, slim mandate, I dare say, to take care of security, we are not seeing security in the way and manner it should be. I am particularly, and I should particularly refer to what is happening in Bokos and local government and Akin Ladi in Plateau State. We are still getting terrorists, that's exactly what they are, who are still writing and still saying that they are going to continue to kill people under our watch. Unfortunately, again, the response to it has been okay, fair enough, but not enough in terms of the clearing state of serious mourning. I am not persuaded by the North Central governor just going in there. I thought, yes, I saw the vice president. I thought I needed to see my president also standing seriously behind. Am I saying he's not doing enough? He's doing something, it's too little, it's too late. And so our developmental objective in my own assessment is still saying that we are still marching on the same spots. We have not adequately addressed the myriad of the security and internal security challenges, internal policing, which needs to break that omnibus constitution into bits of pieces to make it a bit workable.
Akin Fatunke, you said it's a little too late, if I did get you correctly, but then you know that it's been over 8 years now, billions of naira has been budgeted to fight terrorism in Nigeria. So what is the problem? Is it with the funds not being enough, or the security chiefs not being optimal in dealing with these criminalities in the areas where it's been perpetrated?
Oh, Lekan, I actually said little and late. Yes, because government is a continuum. And I keep on hearing the age-old one beating 8 years, you know, the Dasuki Gate and all that. That is not, in my opinion, tenable, okay? It could be an excuse, but it's not tenable. Lekan, I am making a point, and my point is the fact that we have not developed the political will. There is a strong political will with the elites, with politicians, who, one way or the other, I like to say security also know some of these people that are making this kind of recurring attacks on people. There is a political will to handle this frontally. That political will, Lekan, for instance, will be such that you may not get a second term. You may even be on the verge of being impeached, but you will have a way to resolve them. I am making this point that we really, a lot of fault lines, immediately after the election, suddenly we started seeing people killing here and there. I'm not necessarily trying to point any accusing finger, but I will if needs be. Those who are perpetrating this, they know themselves. They traverse the military, they transfer the political class, they even transfer the communities themselves. And part of the reason, in my opinion, is the fact that we don't want you. I mean, if you understand my language in a very crude way, okay. You are not the one I want. And if you are not the one I want, then I'll do virtually everything, not just on security, even on the economy to try and undermine and jeopardize your efforts.
Now, Akin Fatunke, let's quickly look at the economic aspect for the country. Now, President Tinubu highlighted macroeconomic stability as a priority during his speech. What key indicators or measures should be monitored to ensure and sustain macroeconomic stability in the country?
That is the twin that we needed to have declared the state of emergency. Apart from security, I don't know which one will come first or second. I think Mr. President makes the one out pronouncement. It's now 7 months that he's made bold reforms to take away the rentiers on a foreign exchange market and to take away subsidies. Are we taking away subsidies in reality? I mean, the question begging for answers. And have we allowed the market forces to be so unbridled in a way that is making part of a nonsense of our attempts to make sure that we take away the middlemen here and there? We still see those who sell at the black market here and there. Again, Lekan, there has to be another political will. The capacity to do it is there, but it has to be in a way and manner that it might even be where you are sitting. We have to be unearthed. We need also, okay, on the positive side, I think Dr. Cardoso's point about price stability here and there is a welcome development. I also heard Mr. President talking about the Oyedele's committee that they need to codify, simplify, and take away double taxation and stuff like that. But for the life of me, it ought to have been done day before yesterday, not even yesterday. We need to spring up and try and make sure that we block all the loopholes. You see, whether security, where is economy, whether it's food security and what have you, the big elephant in the room still remains corruption. And corruption is not just you dipping your hand in the till. It's also the fact that from Mr. President himself, we haven't seen the coloration of seriousness in making sure it calls down cost of governance, COP that he mentioned and all that. Take as an example, look at the budget that we are talking about. The National Assembly on their own went and increased their own portion of the budget by 60%, the highest ever. At a time, everybody is now crying about SUVs. It should not be creating additional buildings that will not necessarily make any returns.
But that increase, according to them, is actually aimed at improving the, of course, the operations of government-owned enterprises. That was what they said. But then,
Fatunke, that's what they said, but that is not what I see.
Well,
I am afraid that's not what I see. If you say it's an operational, how many operational vehicles are you talking about? Why do we need operational vehicles that are not assembled and done in Nigeria? We have the capacity to do it in Nigeria.
Well, I guess that would be a talk for another day. But then let's quickly tie it. Of course, you mentioned corruption. We'll tie it around now to this particular next question. Now, one of the things the president mentioned was the optimization of the investment environment for the country. He said it's a top priority for him. So looking at it from an economic standpoint, what policy measures or reforms would help in contributing to creating a more favorable environment or climate for investors to bring in their funds? And the reason I'm saying this is because there was a report I saw yesterday of a particular person, I can't really remember his designation, accusing ministers now of collecting bribes from investors before they are given the recourse to have their funds being channeled into the Nigerian economy. So that's an allegation anyway. So by the time we tie all that together as regards corruption and the need to attract FDIs, how do we begin to create an enabling environment for investors to come in?
Very simple. What you just mentioned is not new. It was very prevalent in the previous government. Indeed, in the PDP government. I can tell you for free that I have friends and investors who I have asked that, look, you can come and do a couple of things in Nigeria. They actually came to Nigeria and civil servants frustrated them. No. So what are the measures that we need to see? The central bank should continue to try their best to put in what we call price stability. For now, I do not see information that is flowing. We are still having cash crunch here and there. Why are we having cash crunch here and there? Output must be enhanced in the face of the untamed and flying inflation that is approaching 30%. Food inflation is extremely high. What Mr. President is talked about, food security, about 5,000, hectares.
500,000 hectares.
500,000 hectares, thank you, of which about 200 or so has happened in Jigawa during the dry season. Have you asked yourself, Lekan, if the Lagdo Dam is opened, if the unbridled security that is not allowing farmers to go to their farms, being beheaded here and there, how is it going to now be implemented? So it has to be integrated. We need true, pure, adequate communication. Even if it is bad news, please let us know. I am afraid. I do not want somebody to be telling me, for instance, that Port Harcourt refinery is going to start, and then you come back the following day and say it's only manufacturing. We need honesty, clarity, and we need good example. In all of this, Lekan, what is lacking is the discipline and example to show the way. And because of that, people didn't trust you. They gave you just a thin line of a margin of difference. The trust deficit is now widening, despite the fact that you are trying to do a couple of things for the MSMEs and what have you, and then look at labor and all that. Promise was made that you are going to pay 35,000 for 6 months. Allegedly, we hear that it was only paid for 1 month. Is it true? Is it not true? Where is communication for crying out loud? And you cannot be hiding these things and you think Nigerians will not know. Nigerians are ready to queue behind you, Mr. President, and your ministers, especially your promise that you are going to ask Mrs. Adiza Usman to be looking strictly at the evaluation. Each minister should be starting from, for instance, the power minister. What exactly, how could you have gone to COP and then you are talking about the CMN's deal, or whatever, and we are still suffering. On January 1, quite a number of places don't have light.
Well, Akin,
it's either we are not being serious or we are just playing to the gallery.
I would guess the president is trying to give Nigerians heads up on what his administration is trying to do going forward. But then we appreciate your contributions on the news. Thank you so much, Akin Fatunke, for talking to us.
Lekan, I might have sounded so negative, but I know the way. The way is to go right. But I see people going left, and it's my duty and responsibility to tell myself and tell the whole world that that's the only way. That's the way to show that you love this president and you love the administration. QED.